A lot of people don't like the idea of selling. There's a particular feeling that arises in people if you talk to them about making a sale, and I would say that for most people it's not a feeling that they like. It can be even less appealing when what is being sold is intangible, such as when you're a coach, consultant or freelancer and what you're selling is the work you do. And yet you're a business trying to make money, and selling your service is how you do that. This means there is a natural, often pressing need to make the sale, which can feel at conflict with your desire to be authentic. In other words, if you're at all ethically minded, it can feel like selling is ideologically opposed to how you work. My name is Simon Batchelor, and in this podcast I'm going to explain how you can balance being authentic with selling in a way that doesn't feel conflicting. I believe that selling doesn't have to be bad. I think it's the stereotype of the used car salesperson that's given selling such a bad name. Most people have been on the receiving end of relentless persuasion, pressure, and even outright false promises from someone who's desperate to make a sale no matter what, and it's not much fun. There is another way to make a sale, and it's not talked about so much because it doesn't actually focus on the selling bit of sales. It's actually more like trying not to sell anything, and I find it feels a lot better for the seller, and when the sale is made, the client feels great too. Instead of a sales pitch, we're offering a journey. This non-selling sales technique is not quick, and that's why it works so well for considered purchases. The idea is to focus on the questions the client may have. We then answer those questions to guide them to a point where they understand what the change is they want to make, they trust you to deliver on your promises, and they want to know when they can start. The process is like a journey that the client goes on. It's got 4 stages. The first stage is unaware. They begin by being unaware that there is something in their life that they might like to change, either personally or in their business. This could be an action, a thought, or a process that they are repeating. This is how most people are most of the time. The next stage is curious. At some point, they become aware that this thing in their life is something that is connected to another way of being, and they're curious to find out more. By this I mean that they see an opportunity for change. They see that with the right change, they can get to a place they want to be. The next stage is inspired. At this point, they feel inspired to find out more about this change and how they might get from where they are now to this new desirable destination. Their questions tend to focus on what the process of change involves and how much effort, investment and time it will take. The last stage is motivated, and at this point they're likely to be motivated to look for someone to guide them in making this change. Someone who knows the process and has guided others before. Ethical marketing is all about providing what the client is looking for at all 4 stages of this journey, and this is how you sell without selling. The journey itself attracts the clients you're looking for. It's not a sales pitch or a special offer, and it's certainly not the opportunity of a lifetime. What you're doing is setting up a journey, and then you're acting as the guide for those who want to know, explore and discover more. Once they understand and believe that the change they have discovered is one they want to make, they naturally progress to finding a guide. This could be a coach, a course, a book, a video, a podcast, or even consultancy. So to create a compelling journey, we need to start with the destination and work backwards. By reframing the selling process into the journey for the client, rather than it being a single high-pressure sales conversation, it becomes a lot more enjoyable for both the client and for you. We start off with the end point and we create an offer that your ideal client is looking to buy. This way, you're not trying to persuade them to buy what you want to sell. You're offering something that they're already interested in. It's the best place to start because when people are motivated to change, you've got something to offer them. Next, we explain how the process of change works. How could the client go from where they are now to where they want to be? What are the steps involved and how can they move from one to the next? You can then point to your offer to guide them to their destination, which you created in the first step. Next, you create content that links together ideas or concepts the client might not have already connected. You explain the key principles that underpin the work that you do, and you offer up answers to common questions that you get asked. For those who want more, you can point to the explanation of the process that you've already created in step 2. The last step is to think about people who are looking for change but maybe don't yet know what change is possible. We can grab their attention with some short, simple and thought-provoking ideas that are quick and easy to understand and consider further. You can then point to the content that you've created in step 3 for those who want to do more. So you might be thinking, well, hang on, this all sounds good, but I still have to make a sale at the end of it all, don't I? And yes, you do still have to make a sale at the end. That is still the overall goal of ethical marketing. However, without all the high pressure and manipulation, it's going to feel a lot less like selling. So instead of trying to sell courses, sessions or programs to people who are unaware that they even want to make a change, what we're doing is confirming their understanding of where they are and where they want to be, and we're making the next step available to them. So it doesn't really feel like selling. In fact, it isn't classic selling at all, and yet it often ends up in a potential sale. So what we're going to do is focus on the steps of the journey and not the end point, which is the sale. We're going to help the client understand more about the change that is available to them. We help them see where they are now and how it can connect to where they might want to be. In doing so, you'll end up talking to people who are ready to do the work involved and are ready to invest in making that change happen. Because you're not selling, you're just being authentic. This has been a very brief overview of how this process works. I go into a lot more detail in my book, Reframing Marketing, a 3-step guide to effective and ethical marketing. So if you want to create a journey for your client to go on and to have more conversations with the people who are ready to do the work, then you might want to give it a read. You can order your copy directly from me at reframingmarketing.com. Thanks very much for listening, and I hope this podcast has got you thinking. If you'd like to get a notification of when the next episode is released, then simply press the follow button wherever you're listening to this podcast.